Hi guys and welcome back to the Mighty Blues. My name is of course Cameron and welcome back today to another live stream. It is Wednesday. I haven't streamed since Friday. Obviously when we done the stream with no light, with no green screen, and no light. A couple of comments saying that was a little bit dark, so I do apologise about that one in advance. It doesn't actually look as dark. Well, I apologise for that one. It doesn't actually look as dark on camera as it does when you're actually sitting down and rewatching the video. So I do apologise about that one. Of course, we had a really big day in Everton Football Club history yesterday. Andre Gomes getting announced, the moment that we've all been waiting for. The announcement that we've all knew was imminent, but we've all sat here waiting for the last couple of weeks. It was finally announced yesterday by the club, a £22 million move from Barcelona. Gomes pens a 5-year deal, keeping him here until the end of June 2024. So fantastic news. Obviously, we're going to speak about it in today's live stream. We're also going to talk about Marcel Brands and what's next for Marcel Brands, in my opinion, in terms of not only bringing players in, who's next in the incomings, but also who's next to leave the club, and what do we have to do with the players that we've already got, because I want to talk about specifically the back end of last season and some of the comments that I personally made, and I think a lot of Evertonians were feeling as well. But the biggest topic, of course, of conversation, I've done a couple of videos yesterday on it and in and around this topic, of course, Andre Gomes finally being announced. Just quickly on it, listen, I think everything's been said that needs to be said about this transfer already. I think everything was said that needs to be said about this transfer last week, the week before, when it was first broken that, we'd agreed the deal and that the player was really keen to sign for the club. I think it was just a case of, getting all the papers signed, getting the little bits and bobs done, in terms of a medical and signing the contract, etc. But now it is all done and it's all confirmed. He is an Everton player. He had his little announcement video where he says it feels like he's back at home. Absolutely fantastic to see all of the support for him on social media. Brilliant to see him getting involved on Twitter as well and saying, I finally signed the contract, lads, after obviously everybody going on him to sign the contract over the last couple of weeks and months, really, basically since he played Crystal Palace in his debut. But yeah, absolutely fantastic news, fits in nicely to our squad. Of course, we know what we're going to get with Andre Gomes, an absolutely quality footballer, a player that's got a lot of class, a player that's got a lot of talent, a player that's a different midfielder to a Disagana. We're going to talk about Disagana in today's team, but obviously for me, listen, I think it would be hard to argue against the point that he's probably technically our best midfielder, or the best midfielder that we've had since, Mikel Arteta. I'd even go back as far as saying he's absolutely fantastic on the ball. He keeps his head, he's very calm, he's very composed, no matter which side he's playing, no matter who he's playing against, he's always calm, he's always composed. Yes, he was guilty of being a little bit lazy at times last season, but as soon as he can kick that out of his game, crack on, he's going to be an absolutely unbelievable player for the foreseeable future, and we already know he is now an unbelievable player for the foreseeable future. An absolutely fantastic bit of business as well by Marcel Brands. It'd be rude to not talk about the fact that Andre Gomes was signed by Barcelona from Valencia, and within that contract, when he signed for Barcelona, he had a £100 million buyout clause, and it also had a clause in it to say that Valencia would get more money from the transfer if he was to win the Ballon d'Or. So that's obviously how highly rated he was at Barcelona at the time. Brought him in to be that replacement for Xavi and Iniesta. It didn't work for him for whatever reason, dare say down to injuries and lack of opportunities, etc. But of course, we brought him in on loan last season. We've seen how he can go, we've seen how well he'd fit in the Premier League. He's done that fantastically well, so now we've brought him in for £22 million, which in this day and age is absolute buttons. Marcel Brands has done wonders with that transfer, in my opinion. I can't praise the fella enough. I just think he's absolutely unbelievable at what he does, and he's proven that with not only the 6 players we signed last season, but then of course Andre Gomes coming in on a permanent. Now we've seen how he played, we've seen what he can give to the squad, and now we've gone out and we've bought him for a reasonable price as well. Jonathan says, hello, I hope Jonathan, I hope you are doing well, mate. So yeah, listen, absolutely ecstatic bit of news. I don't think we were expecting it for a Tuesday night. I think, listen, we all knew it was him, and we all know it was going to be at some point in the next few days or the next week or so, but I don't think we quite expected it to be at that point last night. I was settling down, I was eating me tea, I was just about to watch Love Island, yeah, not ashamed to say it, and next minute notification comes through on my phone, and that's it all blows up. And like I said, considering we all knew it was happening, considering we all knew it was imminent, considering we knew he was going to be an Everton player next season, the amount of excitement throughout Twitter just to see him actually announced and see him there in an Everton shirt was absolutely fantastic. And Everton snuck in the video of him dribbling past Van Dijk as well, which we all knew he did anyway, despite the fact they seemed to think that he didn't get dribbled past last season. But anyway, That's by the by. Absolutely fantastic business, like I said, by Marcel Brands. Fantastic to get the lad in, and it's done now. No more fannying about, no more rumours, no more, it's imminent, is it not imminent, is he going to sign, is he not going to sign? He's signed for Everton Football Club now. We all knew as a fan base it was happening for the last couple of weeks. It's now done and dusted. He's put pen to paper and he's there, and for me now we have to move on. We have to move on to other players, we have to move on to bringing in other players, and we have to move on to keeping players in our squad as well. Before I move on, I just want to tweet out the stream so everybody on Twitter knows we are live. Like I said, uploaded 2 videos yesterday. I think I'm going to sort of continue doing live streams. Obviously I'll be doing hopefully 3 live streams a week, but I'm also going to put out some videos as well. If there's one day where I can't really do a live stream, I'll throw it out as a video instead. It's quite easy for me to sit down and film a little 5-10 minute video, whereas obviously setting up the live stream and stuff can be a bit more difficult. So if I haven't got time to do that, I'll try obviously and sit down and just put out a little video, so obviously everybody is kept in the loop with the news. We done a Blues news yesterday, like I said, discussed Gomes slightly, didn't want to discuss him too much because I thought we all sort of know what's happening with the situation. We know he's going to sign for Everton Football Club, we know he will be in Everton playing in the foreseeable future, but I didn't want to talk too much about it because again, I feel like that's all we've spoken about really over the last couple of weeks. Spoke about various other rumours as well, linking other players to the football club. Also spoke about pre-season. The final pre-season fixtures were released on Tuesday. Yesterday we had obviously Mainz and Sevilla in a tournament over in Germany, so that'll be really, really interesting. But then of course it was announced late at night that Gomes had signed the deal and that he put pen to paper, and it's absolutely fantastic news. And like I said, now for me, as the title of this video says, what now for Marcel Brands? Who now for Marcel Brands? What does Marcel Brands have to do now to make this a successful summer? Because he got off on a decent start. He's got rid of Nikola Vlasic, who was very clear he didn't want to be at the club. No matter what you think about that transfer, no matter if you wanted to keep Nikola Vlasic, he didn't want to be at the club, and Marcel Brands has identified that and he sold him. He's brought in Marcel, of course, who's the backup goalkeeper. Again, not too much in that transfer, just a keeper that's going to come in and I dare say sit on the bench and act as a replacement if needed for Jordan Pickford. And then of course he's brought in Andre Gomes as well. He's brought in a player that he brought in on loan last season. He's had a little look at and he's gone, you know what, you're more than good enough to be a part of the project that we're building. You're more than good enough to take this team forward where it needs to be. He's gone to Barcelona, he's negotiated with them. He's not had any of the 50-60 million shouts that they were bandying about. He said, you know what, 22 million, deal or no deal. And they've said, yeah, and I think it's an absolutely fantastic bit of business. But where does Marcel Brands go now? Because we all know, as a football club, exciting as it is to see Andre Gomes come in, as fantastic as it was last night, we still need to do more in this transfer window. We still need to ensure that we are stronger come the 10th of August, which is obviously the first game of the season. Josh says, who do you reckon we will sign next? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I personally am not too sure. I would like it to be Kurt Zouma. I would like to see a similar situation as the Andre Gomes one, and Kurt Zouma is the next player to come in, but again, I'm not entirely 100% confident of who is going to come in next. So I think it's nice to move on to that point now, a nice transition. Listen, we sat here, I think the majority of us, I sat here on various live streams, on various videos, and I think the majority of us sat here last season and we said it's important to start the next season, as in the 2019-20 season, how we ended 2018-19. And I don't just mean the results that we got, I don't just mean the performances that we put in, I don't just mean the atmosphere that was created at Goodison Park, the wins, the goals we scored. I mean the side that we put out, the start 11 that we put out. We've gone out now and we've brought in one of those players that we needed to sign in Andre Gomes. Well, obviously we've got Kurt Zouma now, who's the only other one that was, a part of that squad last season that isn't currently an Everton player on a permanent deal. Of course, he's gone back to Chelsea now. There's a couple of players in there as well who I think we need to really, really keep, that could possibly leave the club in this transfer window, could possibly be led away. One, the major one I want to talk about today, is Idrissa Gana Gueye. I think Idrissa Gana Gueye is absolutely vital and absolutely key in what we are building at Everton Football Club, what Marco Silva is building at Everton Football Club, what Marcel Brands is attempting to build at Everton Football Club, because we've just signed a central midfielder there in Andre Gomes, who's got the flair, he's got the class, he's got the talent, he's got the ability, he can get forward, he can spray a ball 40 yards, he can take 3 men on with a rainbow flick. But we need that gritty player who gets stuck in, who puts his foot in, who runs around, who doesn't stop running for the entirety of a football match. And Andre Gomes isn't that player. Andre Gomes isn't going to get his socks dirty, he isn't going to dive in, he isn't going to continuously run around for the entirety of a football game. the reason Gomes and Gay worked so well together last season is because they complement each other in different ways, because they are totally different footballers, and that's why for me it's absolutely vital that we keep a hold of Adesina Gay going into next season. Obviously we had the rumours in January where it looked like he could possibly leave to go to PSG. They died down a bit after the club, had a pretty firm stance on him, saying that he's not going to be sold. Going into the summer now, again, the PSG rumours have come out here and there. Nothing has been as solid as obviously the £21.5 million bid that they actually put in January, but again, we still are unsure where Adesina Gay's head's at. It was very, very clear that he's a top professional from what happened in January. It was very clear that he wanted to move. It was very clear that he wants to join PSG. He didn't get the move he wanted, but he got his head down, he worked hard, and he said, I'm not going to sulk. I'm going to continue to play at the best of my ability, and I'm going to continue to drive this team forward. Again, like I said, we still really didn't know where his head was at. It wasn't like he said, okay, I'm going to get my head down, I'm going to play well, and hopefully they come back in the summer. It wasn't like he said, listen, I'm not really interested in a move, so I'm just going to get my head down and keep playing. So it does worry me a little bit that if that interest comes back in for the Adesina Gay, if PSG or another team in Europe comes in and they say, listen, we're interested in bringing him to our football club, it does worry me a little bit that his head might be a little bit turned, and he might turn around and say, well, listen, I want to go and play in the Champions League, I want to go and play in Europe, and deservedly so, he deserves that. But for me, that is one of Marcel Brand's biggest jobs in this summer window. Of course we need to bring in a striker. Of course, we now need to bring in two centre-halves. If one of them's Zuma, absolutely fantastic. Of course, ideally, we'd need to bring in probably another central midfielder, maybe a right winger, David Neres, who knows. Yes, we do need to get rid of some of the deadwood. We do need to get rid of Morales. We do need to get rid of Martina. We do need to get rid of Sandro Ramirez. But for me, like I said at the end of last season, keeping that team, keeping that start 11 as it is and only building on that is vitally important for me. I'm not saying that if we go out with the exact same start 11 that, beat Burnley in the last game of the season at Goodison Park, then we'll be absolutely sound, because I don't think we will, because I do think we need a striker, I do think we need a number 9, I probably do think we need another centre half, maybe another sort of attacking player that's got the ability to drive forward. But I think we can build on the team that we had. We don't want to take a step backwards. We've signed Andre Gomes, now he's come in, he obviously was a massive part of that side last season. The next one is Zuma. It's going to be a lot more difficult to bring Zuma to the football club. He's come out in recent weeks and he said he's told his friends that he'd be more than happy and more than open to a move to Everton Football Club, but he's not going to put in a transfer request to Chelsea. And I think that for me just screams the professionalism of the player. He's saying, listen, I'd absolutely love to be a part of Everton Football Club, I'd love to join them again, but I'm not going to spit me dummy, and I'm not going to throw me toys out the pram, and I'm not going to ask to leave Chelsea. If they want to sell me and they want to get money for me, then I'm going to Everton. If not, then I assume he's thinking he's happy to be a part of that setup at Chelsea Football Club. Again, Chelsea have come out and said, listen, if the player desperately wants to leave, we're not going to stand in his way, but there's other players on our squad, on our books, that we'd like to sell before we sell Zuma. So again, that transfer is going to be increasingly more difficult as the weeks go on, as it comes closer to the end of the transfer window, as it becomes more apparent that Chelsea need as many players as they can get, especially after losing the likes of Eden Hazard to Real Madrid. It's going to become tougher and tougher and tougher to sign that player, and if Marcel Brands does manage to wrap up the deal for Zuma, then I don't think it's possible for me to appreciate him any more than I do at this current moment, but I think it would be tested if he brought in Zuma on a permanent deal. I genuinely think I would stand up and just say, you know what, Mr. Brands, you are fucking unreal, mate. The business you are doing with this football club is absolutely unreal. What I think is more likely to happen, and I don't necessarily think this is, dead on going to happen, I don't necessarily think this is bang on going to happen, but I think what's more likely to happen at the minute than a permanent deal is another loan deal for Zuma, and come in again on another 12-month loan, see how he is, and then of course once Chelsea have ended their transfer ban this time next year, we'll see if we want to sign him on a permanent deal. That again is purely based on if Chelsea are willing to sell him, willing to let him go, willing to go out on loan again. Listen, if they haven't got enough centre-halves for next season and they can't bring players in because they've got a transfer ban, they ain't going to put him out on loan and they ain't going to sell him. So we're going to have a real task again. Like I said, it's a big job for Marcel Brands, but it was a massive job for Marcel Brands going to Barcelona and only having to pay £22 million for a footballer that is very clearly a top 4 Champions League footballer in this league, but he went out and done it. So I don't think it's impossible, I think it's very possible, and I wouldn't put it past Marcel Brands, but it's just going to be increasingly more difficult. And again, if we bring Zuma in, then that's us starting next season at least at the same point as that we were at the end of last season. And again, I'm not saying that's where we need to be. I'm not saying that's acceptable. For me, it's not. We still need to bring in a goal scorer. We still need to bring in a striker. We still need to bring in some flair. We need another centre-half, even if we do sign Kurt-Zouma, because we've just got rid of Phil Jagielka. But again, it gives us something to build on. And it says, right, we've got what we had last season. We know how well they can play on the day. We now need to add to that to ensure that they're beating teams like Crystal Palace when it's not going their way, to ensure that heads don't drop against sides like Fulham when, you know, we turned up and realistically we should have absolutely battered them off the park, but we didn't. We were beaten because we didn't turn up. And I think if we can bring Kurt-Zouma in, and like I said, we've got that sort of foundation, if you like, from last season. If not, we need to bring in another centre-half who's proven in this league who can do the job that Kurt-Zouma can do, as well as Kurt-Zouma can do it. And then we need to bring in another centre-half who's willing to either play next to him or, you know, be a lad that comes in off the bench if needed. That, again, is going to be really, really difficult, of course. I've said it multiple times in this day and age, bringing in players with the intentions of not playing them and then being a sort of substitute and only coming on every now and then, it's just massively difficult, and it's really tough to persuade any footballer with the egos, with the money that's floating around in football, to want to come and sit on the bench of a side that's not playing European football, that's only pushing for the top 6, pushing for the top 4. If we were City, if we were United, if we were not United, they're shit as well. If we were City, if we were, do I say the other lot, and we were, you know, in that position where we were winning trophies, we were winning the league, then maybe, but I don't think we're in the position now to bring in top quality players for them to be on the bench. That's why I just bollocked the Tierney rumours off. I wouldn't believe a word of the Tierney rumours, because I genuinely don't think he'd bat an eyelid at Everton, because he knows he'd get nowhere near the squad, because Luca Dina's a much better footballer than him, and he probably would have to fight for number 2 as well, because Leighton Baines has obviously got the experience and he's got the class he's got. Like I said, massive job for Marcel, and we'll have to see how that one pans out over the next couple of weeks or so. Be really interesting to see where we go now with signed Gomes. It's been a lot about Gomes over the last couple of weeks. It's been, you know, the only transfer rumour you've really seen that's solid is Andre Gomes. Of course, you've seen a little bit about David Neres here and there, but the only solid rumour you've seen is the Andre Gomes rumour. So it'll be really interesting now to hear, you know, see what we hear now going forward. You know, who we're linked with. You know, if the David Neres rumours get stronger, if Kurt-Zouma's rumour starts to come up and be a little bit more frequent, of course. But yeah, like I said, massive job for Marcel Brands, and we'll see how that one progresses in the next couple of weeks. If you're enjoying this team so far, please do leave a like. It really does mean a massive amount to me. Like I said, subscribe if you are new as well. Recently had 50,000 views on you know, all videos altogether, 50,000 channel views, or video views, sorry, overall, and I honestly can't thank you enough. It's absolutely mind-blowing to think that 50,000... my videos have been viewed 50,000 times. That's just absolutely unbelievable. So listen, I just want to say a massive thank you. It literally means everything to me. It means the world. I really do appreciate all the support, and I just, you know, can't wait to continue doing the channel. I can't wait to continue growing the channel, and I can't wait to obviously continue coming and speaking about the Blues every single week for the foreseeable future, and hopefully we've got a lot more of an exciting time to talk about going forward. But anyway, I want to move on now, like I said, to players that we've currently got in our team that I think we need to focus on keeping a hold of. I'm looking at Adesanya in particular. Obviously we know we need to keep it hold of Richarlison, we know we need to keep it hold of Bernard, we know we need to keep it hold of Luca Dean, but I think it's pretty certain that those players will still be Everton players next season. I think the one that is, if you were to pick a player in our current squad that you'd say may not be here next season, I think it would be Adesanya. Listen, the lad ended the season fantastically. Obviously had the spell in January where there was rumours going about him joining PSG. Wasn't fantastic at the start of the season, even before the rumours wasn't fantastic. Obviously had trouble settling in, wasn't performing at a consistent level. However, towards the end of the season, after those rumours went away, after it was, you know, quite apparent that he wasn't going to leave the club, he was absolutely unbelievable. He got his head down, he played consistently well, week after week, and you can only stand up and clap him, and I can only stand up and say he deserved that player's player of the season, that, you know, he obviously received at the end of last season. Now, again, we weren't too clued up. We didn't have a statement from him. We didn't have a statement from the club of where his head was at. Now, you could look at that one way. You could say it was because there was no need to make a statement because he wants to play for Everton, or you could say it was because he didn't want to come out and say, well, yeah, I do want to leave, really, but I'll just get my head down and play football that I need to play. But I think most importantly at the minute is that Marcel Brands needs to really take a look at this squad, take a look at the Disagana game and say, right, how can we ensure that footballer is at our football club next season? How can we ensure that he doesn't leave, that he doesn't want to leave next season when he's tempted by sides like PSG, who are bound to come in for him towards the back end of the transfer window when they've signed nobody, when they've got nobody else to look for, they're bound to come back in for him. How do we make sure that he just goes, no, I want to stay at Everton Football Club, I'm here for this project, I'm here for, the journey with Brands, with Silva, I want to stay, I don't want to leave. I think it's going to be really, really difficult for Brands and Silva to be able to go into a Disagana game and have that conversation and have him turn around and say, yeah, I won't be tempted by a move to another club, because at the end of the day, if you're a player that's born in Africa, French speaking, not got any alliance to Everton Football Club whatsoever before he signed for us, and one of the best teams in world football, the best team in the French league, with players like Neymar, Cavani, Di Maria come in for you and say, we want to sign you. It would be stupid of any of us to say, why would he be tempted? Of course he's going to be tempted. He's going to be playing Champions League football, he's going to be winning the league year in after year, so it's understandable as to why he'd be tempted for the move away. But again, it's one of Brands' biggest jobs this season to ensure that Disagana is an Everton player next season, because like I said at the start of the season, it's absolutely fantastic bringing Andre Gomes in. It's brilliant, he's brilliant at what he does, he's a fantastic footballer, but he doesn't do the job that Disagana does, and he doesn't do that job that we so desperately need in the midfield. He does 50% of a job that we desperately need in a midfield, but the other 50% is provided by Disagana. The grittiness, the getting stuck in, the making sure that he's constantly running around, he's constantly running for balls, and he's constantly ensuring he's on the defender's toes. That's what we need, and we've got that in a Disagana, and I genuinely don't think we could sign a player that gives us what Garnagay does. So for me, like I said, it's massively, massively important that Disagana is an Everton player next season, and I just hope that Marcel Brands can ensure that happens, whether that's with the contract extension, whether that's just with a formal agreement that he doesn't leave the club, whatever. Just make sure that player, that footballer is an Everton player come the 10th of August, first game of the season. Mess says Moiskin and Neres will be so good, and a backup right back and Zuma, and we are all set. Yeah, listen, if we signed Moiskin, I'd be absolutely over the moon. I don't necessarily think he'd come to Everton, but again, we are rumoured with him. Obviously, a player of Mino Raiola, who was Lukaku's agent, not got the best relationship with Everton Football Club, not got the best relationship with any football club, to be honest with you. But again, a player with bags and bags of talent, bags and bags of potential. And listen, if we could sign him, it'd be absolutely unbelievable. Same with David Neres. The David Neres rumours are getting stronger, but I just think that we shouldn't get carried away with ourselves with the David Neres rumours, because we've seen it all happen before. We've seen it with Juan Mata, we've seen it with Axel Witsel. Let's not get ourselves too carried away with a player that, that his team, his parent club wants 70 to 80 million pound for him. And I really, personally, cannot see Marcel Brands paying 70 to 80 million pound for a player that is just coming with potential. If we were going to spend that cash on a player, I genuinely think it'd be a player that's already proven and he already knows can guarantee 20, 30 goals a season and do it on a regular basis, not a player that may or may not be able to do it in this league. But again, it's all down to Marcel Brands. Like I said, the whole topic of this team was, where do we go now as a football club? Where does Marcel Brands go? Who does he look for now? I'll be really, really interested. I cannot wait to see, how things unfold over the next couple of weeks or so, and who we're linked with and who we genuinely take a proper interest in. Now that the Gomes deal's out the way, we don't have to, worry about that one now. And, we don't have to think about it in the way he's going to be an Everton player next season. Boss news, absolutely fantastic. And let's just hope that, we now move on to targeting other players in other positions that we desperately need, aka centre-half and striker. I think those two are the positions now that Brands really, really needs to look at bringing players in sharper and quick as well, before other teams start to realise we need players in those positions and then bumping the prices up by ridiculous amounts. Your boy says, I can't find a reason for Juventus to let Keane go. It's not like they need the money. Yeah, again, really, really good point. Again, I think it's a rumour that he hasn't been rumoured to join us on loan, but I think if we were to sign him, it would be on loan. I don't think we'd sign him on a permanent deal, because again, you're spot on, he's a player with bags of potential, really, really young, really, really talented, and I don't see why they'd need to sell him or they'd want to sell him. But again, we'll have to see how that one sort of goes on in the next couple of weeks. Anyway, that's going to do it for today's team. A little bit of a short one today, but we've gone over everything that I wanted to talk about. If you have enjoyed, please do leave a like. It really does mean a massive amount to me. Don't forget to join us again on Friday for another live stream. We'll be live at 6:15 on Friday. We're going to talk more about Gomes. We're going to talk more about Everton Football Club going forward, and hopefully we've got a little bit more news to talk about on the transfer side of things as well. But that's going to do it from me today. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed the stream. Subscribe if you're new as well. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at MightyBluesYT if you haven't already. Once again, a massive thank you for over 500 subscribers and 50,000 video views altogether. It really does mean a massive amount to me. That's going to do it from me. A massive thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.